So like Kitty said, I own and operate Walker's Diesel Services with my husband Dick. My background is in environmental science, emergency management and regional development, so I don't know why I own a mechanical and steel fabrication business. As the 2024 WA AgriFutures Rural Award winner, I'm currently in the process of setting up and designing a cooperative enterprise to enable regional businesses to participate in the defence industry supply chain. So that's a bit about me. Before I ask our panel members to introduce themselves, I would like to ask something of you first. I'd like for you in your mind to jump in the car with me. Think we're going for a drive. If it's going to help, close your eyes if you don't know my driving. That's okay. I haven't had any accidents. But it might be helpful if you close your eyes and imagine we're on a road trip from Jurien Bay to Lake Grace. You've just had a feed of fresh crayfish with ginger and asparagus. And your mate next to you has had Dandaragan beef with a ginger beer from Outback Brewing. Driving across the region to Bindoon, you pass massive vegetable, fruit and flower enterprises. And you see up on that hill there, that's Australia's largest free-range chicken farm in the Gumba. Now, once we get to Bindoon, we stop and we buy all sorts of fruit and veggies, as well as olive oil, gin and goat cheese. I don't know if gin and goat cheese go together well. But we're on the road again, and we make our way to Merredin. And along the way, we see a proud sheep industry that feeds the world and ourselves, and also pork industries. And then the landscape, it opens up in front of us, and we can appreciate the vastness of our namesake, the Wheatbelt. Home to a grain industry that, despite falling rainfall, manages to produce record-breaking crops. Tomorrow, we'll head out to Lake Grace and take in some wine from Walker's vineyard, as well as those delicious Cabernet Yabbies of Mary's. Now we know firsthand the diversity and innovation and resilience of our food and fibre industries here in the Wheatbelt. The intent of today's discussion is to highlight some of the opportunities that present themselves within the agricultural sector and what that means for small business here in the region, and what it means to be able to collaborate with those businesses. Things like technology, value-adding, training, promotion and investment. I know in previous forums we've spoken at length, and we've touched on it today, about the challenges around housing and workforce issues. And this year I'm keen to hear more about how we've moved forward and some of the solutions that have been put in place and the ideas for those that could be adopted. So it would be great at the end of this late Friday afternoon session, I know it's nearly knock-off time, and we'll be ready for a beer after this. But it'd be great to have your involvement as an audience as well on Slido, and I'll keep checking those for your questions. So first of all, let's meet our panel. I'll start down here with Leigh, and I'll just ask our panel members to introduce themselves, where they're from and what they do. I don't know.
Hi, I'm Leigh Webster from York. I run a business that does farm skills training and recruitment. So we do base level accredited skills, and then work with those people to get them out to jobs as soon as possible to use the skills that we've taught them. And then we do general recruitment as well for the grain and livestock industry predominantly.
Thanks, Leigh.
Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Green. I'm the General Manager of the Data Machinery Field Days. It's been really nice that the Field Days has come up a few times already in conversation today. So we are WA's premier agricultural event and proudly based here in the Wheatbelt.
Stevia.
Hi, my name's Burghella. I'm I'm the Training and Logistics Manager for McIntosh Training Academy. The McIntosh Group are one of the largest agricultural machinery dealerships in WA, with 12 branches across the state. I was the one who was asked to put together an RTO basically and become the major trainer for our group of branches across WA.
I'm John Trumpio. I'm the Group Service Manager, Partner Northern Sales, and a business partner. I started there in 1977 as their first apprentice when they first started. Became a partner in 1990, married with an understanding and patient wife in the industry that we're in, we need. And I have two wonderful grown-up boys. Passionate about training. I would never give up the fight about trying to get the apprenticeship system to the best it can be. That's where I'm at the moment.
Okay, thank you. The first question I have for our panel members, I'll ask to all of them, and then we'll get into some individual questions. So I'll start with John down the end. Agriculture and the industries that go hand in hand with the ag sector are exciting sectors to work in. What trends and opportunities have you seen that you believe will shape the future of the Wheatbelt economy over the next decade?
Well, we've been in the last 47 years. From my first tractor that I worked on, and just rip and bust, rip that ground up and put the crop in and have the rain come. If we were farming like that today, we wouldn't be able to grow a crop. In the last 6 years, we've had record crops after record crops. I remember 6 years ago we had 12 million tonne, and they'll say it's a record. They went to 14 million tonne. It's a record. And now, 2 years ago, we went to 24, 26 million tonne, I think it was, and it was a record. And last year, it was going to be dire straits, absolute catastrophe. We got 22 million tonne. So let's hope we don't get 12 million tonne again. And how do we feed the world? But where's it going to be in 10 years? I don't know how much time have I got. Is there a bell? Or?
I'll bell you out, don't worry.
Okay. Technology is where we're going. Technology is absolutely exciting in the ag industry. Let's start with precision ag. We are just starting there. There's tractors that are going to be driving themselves around a paddock. They already are. There's subscription maps. People are measuring what they are getting out of the crops. They're measuring what they're getting at every square metre of their paddock. They can map their paddocks and put subscription seeding. They can work out how much seed, how much fertiliser they need to put at every square metre of that paddock. And they even know what parts of that paddock are productive and what parts of the paddock are not productive. So there's carbon credit, people that the big corporates want to buy our land and plant it in trees, so we lose agricultural land. But our farmers, I think, with this technology, they can work out that bit of land is unproductive, makes no money. They can say, well, what can we do with it? We maybe put trees in that bit of land and work on the bits that do make money. And it's drilling it down to that finite information that they are going to be so amazing in years to come. That's just the precision ag technology, and there's a lot more to talk about that, and we don't have enough time to talk about everything. But also the mechanical side of it, the seeding equipment doing more with less. We don't have the rainfall we have, and if we only do a one pass to put that crop in the ground for seeding it, and the machine we've got now actually prepare the soil and cause it to have a water harvesting effect. When they put the grain in the ground, the technology how they put that grain in the ground, and the precision that they put in the ground, every drop of rain that comes down, they make the most of it. So that's the mechanical side of it. So yeah, there's a long way to go. It's amazing. It's an exciting time to be in ag. It's in 10 years, there'll be tractors and machines working around the paddock, and the people who own those land will be in that control room in their homes, operating the machines from there.
Thank you. Paul, what's your take on that?
I can see some dynamic changes in our regions in the future, driven by agriculture. From a dealer perspective, there's career paths opening up all the time. In the McIntosh Group, we are currently in a phase of opening new branches. We just opened one recently in Meriden, exciting part of that, from the training perspective, is with technology, these new career paths that are opening up. For a long time, people have sort of been drawn away from the regions to the mining sector. I think that's going to change over the next 5 to 10 years. The way the investment is going, we need people in the regions. It's as simple as that. And that's one thing our company recognised. That's why we became an RTO. The TAFE system can't deliver what we deliver as far as from an industry point of view, the knowledge that we've got over years and years of working in this industry, the facilities that we're building is very, very special and it's a niche market, and it's something that we have to really get behind. But I see some exciting times and a real opportunity for young men and women who are going through school in the regions to actually have an exciting career, a very valuable career in the regions.
Thank you. Danielle, I imagine that you'll be seeing these trends as well as part of the Darwin Machinery Field Day?
Yeah, the boys have actually made it easy for me because they've just spoken about precision farming and machinery. I guess as an event, our main mandate is to bring everyone together. We actually bring the entire supply chain together. So the fact that the industry is being so progressive and is exciting is just great news for us as an event, because it means that we're always going to have a place to bring that entire chain together, to have these great conversations and celebrate the success and the advancements that's happening in agriculture.
Lovely, thank you. And Lee, following on from that tech and data component, the hard tech and the data component in the ag sector, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I think probably what we're seeing is that there needs to be more training. Gone are the days of people just coming and hopping on a tractor and heading off into the sunset. The technology, the precision, all the skills that are required to manage that are probably a lot higher than even some of the farmers are estimating. Even this season I'm seeing a lot of high turnover just because of people not being able to manage and pick up the technology quick enough. So yeah, I think we'll see a lot more requirements, and we already know we need a lot more requirements for the training and to keep up with the technology so that the farmers are actually maximising it. And we don't, I think as the industry, they don't actually talk enough about what it costs them when people don't utilise that technology. They make mistakes and what that costs in potential and productivity. So, yep.
So what I'm hearing there is an optimistic point of view, particularly from Paul, around a renaissance into agriculture, this high tech and high data use within ag, and yeah, the training and the supply chain linkages that keep everything connected. What I'm hearing around future trends and opportunities. For me, the opportunity is, as a small business owner, if I'm into tech, how do I join this ag sector? That's what I would be asking myself. Alrighty. John, you've already touched on this about, we've seen the record-breaking crops, so we've got this drying climate. What role do you think environmental sustainability and agricultural practices will play in responding to climate change?
Well, you touched on it, didn't I?
Yeah. You did your homework too well. I already sent you the question.
Sorry?
You did your homework too well.
Well, climate change is what you're about. Well, all those things I talked about a minute ago are helping climate change. We are doing more with less. We can participate in carbonisation. Farmers are burning less crop now. The products that we've got, they don't even, you're probably driving down a highway and see a lot of smoke going across the highway driving east-west, but some people do have to burn. But the technology we've got today, the way they condition their crops, that stubble that's left in the fields after harvest are conditioned and chopped up and laid on top of the soil, and conserving moisture and resisting weed growth because it's going to cover, like you would do in your garden, you put your mulch in your garden. Farmers do that in a broad scale out the field, prepping their soil. And some farmers even got earthworms in their soil now. They put that much more attention to their land. So
That's a better environmental outcome.
Sorry?
A better environmental outcome, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yep. Danielle, when we think about the Wheatbelt, the default image we have in most people's minds is broadacre cropping, complemented by sheep enterprise. We're also home to some of the largest horticultural enterprises in the state, as well as beef, bees, flowers and dairy products. As part of the Darwin Machinery Field Days, what are you seeing farmers and businesses, the ancillary businesses around ag, doing to adapt to technology innovations such as AI, drones and big data?
Yeah, so fundamentally as an event we unite the agricultural supply chain and we bring together all of the stakeholders. Copy my throat. Completely lost my train of thought.
It was just about, the ancillary businesses that go around ag that support.
So we've always brought them together, so everything is on display, that's what we do. So Darren has always, over the decades, brought all of our farmers together, and they always come to see the leading machinery displays, they come and see the technology that's on display as well, and then they come to talk to the agri-businesses that are there. And we've been doing it for 60 years, and we did celebrate that significant milestone last year, and it was a really great exercise for us to actually look back over the decades and just look back at what we've actually showcased as an event. And every year at Darwin, we have shown that development and shown that technology. And our farmers adapt, because they have to. And farming is so different today than what it was back in the day. I think back in 1964 when we started, the combine harvester didn't even have a cabin and you had an umbrella. So that technology has always been there. It's been technology that's driven that change, and we've showcased it as an event every single year. And it continues, we'll see the next wave coming through in terms of what productivity looks like. So, you come to the Machinery Field Days, you can climb into any tractor and you just, this vast display of computer screens in front of you, and there's all these apps and tech that you can bolt onto that. But the next step is really sort of that productivity and, that sustainability piece, and, our farmers have to grow more yield with to be sustainable and with less. And so also at the field days you'll see, our exhibitors doing stuff around soil research and crop research. There's so much with automation and that future coming through now. Remote sensors, we talked a lot about connectivity and the need for data. Data is huge. So for our farmers to be able to take all of that information and to make informed decisions in real time about what they're doing is going to be great for their operations. And so that's what we're witnessing at the field days every year. So just really delighted that we can be that showcase platform for the entire supply chain to come together and have those conversations.
Do you see interest from other sectors like the beef, the horticulture, rather than just the broadacre?
Yeah, so obviously our bread and butter are our grain growers and our merino wool producers. I've been really passionate the last few years of having the hashtag Team Wheatbelt attached to our event, and we have been rezoning. We are trying to show agriculture through the whole supply chain, so we do have now, we call it Blue Shed, because we do have the distilleries there. We do have some major partners like the Harvest Road, who are in the beef, Craig Mostyn Group are coming now. So as much as we're in the wheatbelt and the grain growing area is our bread and butter, I think our event has an extraordinary opportunity to showcase all of West Australian agriculture. And if any crayfishermen want to come, that would be awesome. So I wouldn't mind that. That's taster for a sundown. We have had a koi oysters through Harvest Road, so that's been really good. They've got up there along the coast. But we do have, people who produce honey come as well. Our biggest challenge is, they come for 2 days, but where do we stay? So that accommodation thing also affects our event a lot. So, and it is costly for them to come and exhibit and spend time and drive back and forth. But certainly, if we could showcase all of West Australian agriculture at our event, then that would be wonderful.
And you make a good point, we mustn't forget the western side of the Wheatbelt there. Okay, so I'm going to see what's here on the Slido. It's another one for you, Danielle. How do you feel the Darwin Field Days help showcase agriculture to our city cousins, and what challenges do you foresee to keep people here?
Yeah, so we've done a fair bit of research and analysis into our data, and we did a bit of a breakdown of who actually attends. So from an exhibitor viewpoint, we do know that the majority of exhibitors coming are the decision makers as well as their sales and BD guys. So that's really important to have the decision makers on the ground. And then more than 50% of our visitors are actually coming from Perth Metro. So we do have this extraordinary opportunity, because we are getting people coming up over the hill and coming to Darwin, to showcase agriculture, showcase Wheatbelt, and so that they have a country experience and a learning experience, and then get to appreciate everything that we do. And I've obviously taken that the other way as well, and I've bombarded Perth with Darwin as well. And that sort of came out of me running around St George's Terrace when I first started looking for sponsorship, and talking to some big corporates who are obviously very invested in agribusiness or wanting to be in front of our farmers. And they were like, "Damn, look, we know what you've done in the past. Ag is not really doing a great job in its storytelling. They're not doing a really great job in selling their message to a Perth audience. Why don't you put together an industry lunch here in the city?" And so that's how the whole Winning Downtown was born. So I took up the challenge and said, yep, I can certainly pull this off. And I think it's been really important, especially in a state in which our narrative is very much mining, and that's very evident from Aaron's chart before because it's right up here. But agriculture gets lost in the conversation, and the Wheatbelt doesn't get considered. They talk about the Northwest, they talk about the Southwest, but what about us in the Wheatbelt? So it's been really great to be able to leverage the wonderful iconic event that is Darwin Machinery Field Days, and take that wonderful heritage and then take it to a Perth audience and say, hey, this is what's going on, this is what we're doing. And we're even taking it one step further this year, and I'm really pleased to announce that with Business News we will be producing a Wheatbelt publication this year. They have done 2 Northwest ones back in the day and also a recent Southwest one. So I rang up their CEO and said, hey Charles, what about a Wheatbelt one? So really proud that the Darwin Machinery Field Days will help with that, and we will come on board as a primary partner and sponsor. And so that will mean about a 70-page publication that will be coming out in July, and it will all be about the Wheatbelt. So everything that we have spoken about today that we know and love, but we're talking to ourselves in our audience, we're going to be taking that message to the entire stage.
That is so valuable.
And we will be launching that at our Bring Down Downtown lunch this year. So everyone's going to come, by the way, you've all got to be there, Friday, July 25, I might as well give it a plug. And that publication will be on the seat there, and it will go to the general public, and then it will go to the entire subscriber base of Business News, but also be outside the paywall. So yeah, so that City Country Connect, I'm hoping can only do great things in terms of promoting our region and promoting agriculture.
Yeah, and that ticks off a couple of questions here that people had about sharing that, so thank you. There's a question for Lee here around the work you do, and it says, do you deliver training in a traineeship or apprenticeship delivery model? And I know you've worked tirelessly to get skills recognition or farm skills and recognised as a trade. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
So my business personally, we don't do accredited training, so no, it's not working to an apprenticeship or traineeship model, but it's definitely something that I spend a fair bit of time working towards. It's where I see we have a big gap. Our kids can go to ag school and do a Cert 3 there, but they finish school without a high enough level of skills nowadays to be fully independent when they go onto their first farm. So especially the kids that haven't come from a farm background, which is fast becoming the majority of the kids coming through the ag schools. So there was a meeting yesterday, there's a couple more next week. There is an agricultural apprenticeship being developed at a federal level, which will be amazing if we can get that through, so that will bridge the gap between, for those people that don't necessarily want to go to university but are practical skilled, they might start it at ag school, so it's not taking away from what the ag schools do. It's something they can start at ag school, but it'll be a 3 to 4 year qualification. So my argument has always been that a mechanical apprenticeship, a hairdressing apprenticeship takes 3 to 4 years, and it's one sort of skill set, and a farming Cert 3, which is what a hairdressing or mechanical apprenticeships are Cert 3, takes 6 months if they're really dedicated to it, and that really devalues our agricultural skill sets, which are across a much broader set of skills that are needed. So yeah, really excited to see if that we can get that apprenticeship up and running. I think it will certainly help farmers in their employment. It'll help the employees to verify their skill sets. We have, in my job, I see a lot of CVs, and you can have 2 people with 10 years of experience and they've got vastly different levels of capability or knowledge, and that makes it very hard for an employer to then determine wages and rewards and what they're actually going to be able to do. So from my point of view, it actually will also help the employers. I see, people that have been on a farm and never driven a combine or a header, because that's the farmer's job. So I think it will actually help the farmers to go, hang on a minute, I actually need to allocate time to teach that and give this person an opportunity to learn those skills, because that's part of their qualifications. So yeah, lots of good things coming.
That just sounds great, because am I right in understanding it's harder for people to get loans and life insurance and things like that without that recognition?
Yeah, I think that's true. Like, there's a lot of banks are looking for qualifications, and we don't have, obviously the current qualifications aren't high enough. It's hard to determine people's professional status to give them that credit rating. So definitely, hopefully it will help. Also, just what I've seen too, I work with a lot of international people that come in on the working holiday visa from countries, European countries where they have an apprenticeship, and a lot of those kids come in as 18, 19-year-olds, and they'll do a year and they're doing their farmer education. That's part of their education when they come here. They often go home, and I will see them back when they're 24, 25, and they're actually doing their second part of their education, which is management. So they're in a university stream, and I think that's where we're losing a lot of our farm kids, because they come out of school, there's no qualification for them, so we lose them to other industries where they can get a qualification. If we kept them in agriculture for that 3 to 4 years, I think we would see a lot of them go off to university at that point, they want to become managers, they want to progress, and that would keep them in the industry, and we would build a really solid skill set and future.
Thank you. Paul, you've had the privilege of shaping young people's careers. How do we keep that pipeline of tradespeople full?
Well, one of the initiatives that we've begun is reaching out to schools and colleges, of course. We also attend Darwin often. As from the RTO point of view, I've been present there for the last 3 years. Just so that everybody knows, our RTO was actually registered in December 2019. We started our delivery in February 2020, our first delivery. There was myself and 1 lecturer and 18 apprentices. We are now 115 apprentices,
Right.
6 lecturers, a program developer and an administration. So that just shows how quickly that can grow. So the first thing is to reach out to the schools and colleges attending events, so that we inform people of those career opportunities that are available through agriculture in regional WA and in regions all across Australia for that matter. So that's the first thing, because when you speak, my experience is when I've gone in and spoken to young men and women, they don't really know what is available. We were talking before about women in traditionally men's industry. We're a great promoter of women. If you walk into any of our branches, you will find females, staff in all positions, from management through to the technical positions. We've got heavy diesel mechanics or agricultural mechanics who are apprentice mechanics. We've got parts technicians who are female. We promote that. But you know, when you walk into a school and you say, you walk up to the young ladies and you say, would you like a career in agriculture? They go, well, what can we do? What can we do? What is it? And you start to spell it out. The other thing is, you don't necessarily need to come in a technical role. You may start here today and you could end up in 10 years' time, you won't even know what's happened to you. You'll be in a completely different role, a completely different opportunity will open up for you. I started with McIntosh Son as a operations manager, what's called an operations. I've been in automotive all my life. I started as a parts and service manager in their New Albany branch. I brought that business up over 3 years, and then all of a sudden I was asked to do a career shift and become a training manager, something I'd never done before. So it just shows you how careers open up when you least expect them to. I think one of the things with the vet sector in particular when we're talking about things like parts technicians, logistics, warehousing, obviously the mechanical side, guidance or precision farming. One of the things that we need to do, I think, is start to talk to government about bringing back trade school in the school period. So sort of between year 8, 9 to year 12, let's say.
And that touches, I think, Danielle's point about making it known. Make those career pathways known.
Yes. If you're not intending on going to university and you want a trade or you want to get into a valuable career that's going to actually put bread and butter on your table for the rest of your life and is going to open opportunities for you to develop later on, then let's have a look at what is available and let's have a trade school. Because if you grab a young person from year 9 and you start to take them out of the academic side, I mean obviously English and mathematics is important, but if we start looking at our engineering, our technology industries, mining and so on and so forth, agriculture, then we can start steering them towards those areas and find what they like, what they enjoy. And by the time they're ready to actually join the workforce, they come to us with more confidence.
A bit of passion as well, right?
A bit of passion, yeah.
Passion.
You know, we employ, on average, I mean, our largest intake of first-year apprentices was last year, where we had 35 across WA, across the group. And when I did the induction with those 35, the first thing I noticed was a real lack of confidence. And it's quite daunting, you know, to come, particularly if they haven't lived on a farm or don't necessarily come from the regions, and they haven't been exposed to agriculture, and then all of a sudden they walk into a big branch and they've got these massive machines and these highly skilled people running around. It's quite daunting for them.
So it sounds like, just like the, promoting the ag piece in Perth, it sounds like an education piece, a vocational piece of education around what is out there and what it looks like when you get there. There is a popular question here that I want to move on to, and it says, to everybody, so whoever wants to answer this, or a couple of you could answer, what solutions are you seeing ag businesses deliver to provide housing and or accommodation for seasonal or year-round workers? Anyone want to take that first?
Well, I'll just quickly add a little bit here. Following on what Leonie said earlier on, we do business with each other. I don't know the Toyota, nice. They bought housing. It's not their core business. Their core business is car dealerships. That's where they make their money. Other Northians bought a house in Muckindoon. We bought a property in Corrigan with the plan to build 4 single and 2-bedroom units to house our staff. We've done a deal with the Cunderdin Shire and taken over the old seniors old people's home because they've moved to a different site, and we've renovated that out and recommissioned that place, and we've got a deal that we can use those 4 bedrooms.
So you helped yourself essentially.
And so we've got places for emergency staffing, we've got places for our workers, because we have failed to acquire apprentices because in Muckindoon there wasn't a house available there.
Yep.
We're actually leasing properties with nobody in them for 6 months, so we can secure a house for next year when we have our next intake of apprentices. Because we're putting on a maximum of 6 on every 6 or 7 on a year, every year with 16 apprentices. Sorry. So you miss out on that if you can't house it. So it's taking that's all coming out of your cash flow, it's coming out of your investment. What you do is your business, and real estate's not our business. So and that's what we're trying to do to try and help. And that place in Cunderdin, we're not using it. We'll sublease it out. Someone else now. We've allowed other businesses to come in there as well.
Any other ideas from the panel? If you have
I think a lot of the farmers are helping themselves. They've all got accommodation available for their seasonal stuff. They do it really well. What I've seen is a lot of farmhouses that were once part of a farm purchase were left derelict and now being well maintained and being rented out and utilised, which is really good to see.
Yep. Any other ideas?
We've basically got all of the modular homes coming to Darwin to exhibit, so obviously they're selling to farmers direct. Yeah. So we've got probably 4 or 5 providers that do attend and exhibit.
Brilliant. Anything else to add to that, Paul, or covered?
Look, we have houses across the group that we use for not just for apprentices but also for technicians that have to go between regions. So we've already done that for quite a few years now. It's a tough one because it is restrictive and you do lose people because of the fact that there's no accommodation.
But the opportunity cost of that is a person in your business, that just compounds that effect of not being able to access tradespeople, really.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest blockers for us. Most of the time we work around it some way, but it's never ideal. No. It involves travel, it involves sacrifice, particularly if you have marriages involved and kids and changes.
A trading partner, that's me.
Exactly.
It's true, I've got to reinvent myself everywhere I go, just because I follow a boy into the bush. Alright, someone says, I want to acknowledge and congratulate John on 48 years at Hutton Northie. Well done. So, John, you've been committed to living and working regionally for a very long time now. What role do you think regional partnerships and collaboration between business and government will play in shaping our region, the Wheatbelt?
Well, a lot of things come up today. Logistics, transport. They're talking about the collaboration with government is important. The government needs to get help to provide the tools that businesses and enterprises and communities need, and then get out of the way and let them do it.
Yep.
And a perfect example of that is when all the ag dealerships that are doing ag mechanics weren't happy with the delivery in Perth, and all the way the RTOs are doing it. And we've got the government, everyone's reaching the government independently, you're not getting no mileage. So we did it collaboratively in Darwin in 2019 or 20 it was. All the ag businesses got together and resoundingly said to the government, we are not happy with the delivery. And yes, Muresk is the prime spot to have ag qualifications delivered. Hence we've got that magnificent facility there, and our apprentices go there. The other thing is, why do businesses start RTO businesses? Because they're not getting what
They
want from the government. So yeah, look, the government needs to come out and listen. Well, I've noticed that the state government has allocated portfolios. We've got an ag minister, we've got all these ministers out of the region, actually live in the city. So I hope that they can car and drive out to Meriden and Southern Cross and really see what the road's actually like, and see what we come and listen to everybody.
It's the best way to learn, and to appreciate what someone's experiencing and living and working in, is to go and see it yourself.
Yeah, the only way, best way a lot of people can express themselves is one-on-one. I mean, this is not what I'm used to. I'm used to a round table discussion, to and froing, and rattling a few things out. So, but industry need to get together too. I mean, maybe we say, okay, we're going to send our kids to McIntosh after.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know.
All right.
Westpac does it as well. People send them to Westpac.
I've been giving the wrap up, and I just have one really important question that I do want to ask each of the panel members, right, to respond on today. So, starting with Lee, and we'll work down the panel. What is your long-term vision for the Wheatbelt agricultural industry, and what do you want our audience members to take away today? I can start with John. There you go.
Yeah, long-term vision would be to see more people working in ag, keen to come out and actually realising the opportunities that it offers. What was the second one?
What do you want our audience members who have loyally stayed with us to take away today?
I suppose to take away that, yeah, there is activity, and there is, and you can, if you're interested in getting involved, like get involved and push your ideas. When you work hard and talk to enough people, we do get action. So we have a small population, but we can have a really big impact if we all just keep our voices heard and keep pushing your ideas forward so that we can keep developing our region.
Love it. Thank you.
Well, basically our farmers feed the world, so without them we have no clothes and we have no food. And so it's just critical that we have a future, yeah? So we have to do whatever we can to make sure that that happens. And so I'm going to go back to that storytelling piece, awareness, awareness, awareness. And so my message to the audience today, for the field days this year, can you please bring a mate from the city up and show them what's going on so they can experience. Bring the whole family, bring a car load up from the city, and so they can come to the Darren Machinery Field Days and see on the ground, in action, what's going on, and they'll have a picturesque, beautiful canola, field drive on the way up, and they'll get to see everything that the Wheatbelt has to offer.
Love it. Thank you.
I'd like to see towns like Wonga Hills and Mora and so on, and the smaller ones around the region. I'd like to see shops reopening.
Yes.
I'd like to see butchers coming back. All the services. That to me would be a great. After all the years, I turned 60 this year, so I'd just like to see that happening because, what did our diggers go and die for? You know what I mean? So that's one thing.
What do you want
the audience to take away is don't despair. There are great family businesses that have been established for a long time. McIntosh Son started in Wonga Hills. They invest heavily back in the business. Leonie was talking about the same thing here in Northern. Don't despair. There are people that are putting back in, and when all the fluffy roles that have been, that have been the ones that everybody's been concentrating on, when they are done and dusted, the focus will come back to the regions, I'm sure.
Thank you. I love your vision. John.
We want to do it together. So what I thought I'd like everybody to go away with is ag industry that has got a lot of sectors in it, from food and fibre, I call it. There's people chopping trees down there to build houses. There's cotton farmers that we make so we get to do clothing, and there's food. So food and fibre, we've got that many industries, that many bodies, but we're not united. We're not one. The mining industry have a mining thing, and they promote mining.
So you want one voice to go
Sorry?
on? You just want industry to have one collective voice?
We need one voice, and we've got to sell the message to the people who don't know what agriculture, food and fibre is about. So if I can just take an example like you said, to go for a drive in a car, can I just ask everybody to imagine looking down Murray Street Mall, and we're looking down Murray Street Mall with food and fibre. You see the banners, you see tables, you see people eating, drinking, you see the clothes shops full of clothes, you see all those. Just imagine what it looks like right now. That's with food and fibre. Now imagine it without food and fibre. There's no food on the table, there's no drink, all the people's their buckles are falling to the ground, with their leather belts and their clothes are gone. Close your eyes and everybody's naked. And the windows got no dressings, no clothes in the shop. So I don't know.
They're all naked and starving.
We need to have a way. How do we promote food and fibre to the people who don't understand our industry? We feed the world, as we've said lots of times. So yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you for your time, everyone, and please thank our panel members for being here on